What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really been moving SoFi's price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's get right to it. So SoFi at the time of doing this video is up 1.37%, about 2 hours left in the trading day. And so this right here is a 2-day chart. Very comical stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't do a SoFi video yesterday, but I was again just laughing my ass off because I did say in a previous video, I think over this last weekend, that the first sign of popping due to the optimism associated to Feds cutting rates, you were going to see a significant pullback. And so yesterday, you had a lot of good news associated to SoFi, and that was related to analyst ratings. And then you had the Feds. The Feds just come in and I don't know, they are complete idiots. It is very comical on how they think that they're trying to help the broader market. So Powell is there reiterating all the time saying, you know what? We're going to be watching the data points, probably about 2 to 3 ratings or rate cuts in 2024, blah, blah, blah. Market loves that. And then you have this individual, I'm sure already a lot of people know about this, but Goolsby just comes in and talks on inflation and insinuates that there might not be any cuts this year. Market, I don't know. You can't make this crap up. This is like a whole sideshow going on here. But beside the point though, I'm going to go over some data points and stuff like that. And when it comes down to analyst ratings, it's pretty good stuff. So you do see 2 analyst ratings that did come out yesterday. One was KBW, Michael, who has a 58% success rating, upgraded SoFi 750 price target. As well, you did have the beast Kyle with Needham, who has a 55% success rating, did initiate coverage and a $10 price target. So analysts behind the scenes are absolutely loving SoFi and even raising their estimates for the earnings per share and also the revenue for their upcoming earnings, which I do believe is on the 29th or it might be 28th, one of those 2 days. But beside the point, yesterday was absolutely hilarious. The fact that SoFi was building a lot of good momentum and then finally the Feds just cut and just destroy everything. And even today, like the broader market right now, there's a lot of stocks rebounding. And SoFi, yeah, it's up 1.3%, but logically it should be back at this level. And I'm pretty sure most of us do feel that SoFi should be back at double digits, logically. Today, you're also having some signs of manipulation because why would market makers let SoFi get over 750, right? Because today is Friday, options expire on Friday. So kind of logically, well, like why not just manipulate SoFi to make sure it doesn't go below or above 750? So SoFi is just a very comical stock all around. So far right now, shorts are increasing about 242,000 shares, 20.01% of the free float is being shorted, 197.23 million shares overall are being shorted, and utilization is 66.58. Shorts as a consensus, so the 197 million shares does work out to be $1.44 billion worth. So shorts over the last little bit have actually started to return some shares, but like leading into their upcoming earnings, like it just does not logically make sense that SoFi's short interest is at like 20%. But then again, what do I know? And so again, as I've said in the past, just the operations and the stock price just do not correlate. And it is very discouraging coming from an investor standpoint, because imagine yesterday, you see a couple analyst ratings, the market just absolutely just happy, just minding its own business. And then the Feds just comes to slap the hell down. And a lot of stocks today are rebounding today, like I said. And SoFi, look at this right here, this manipulation that is happening pre-market and this. Like payroll numbers came out today, better than anticipated. What on logical damn earth does this make sense? Why on earth is SoFi trending down pre-market? Like SoFi is one of the most manipulated, hilarious stocks because they hit home run earnings like time again and triple beats. Analysts seem to be somewhat, for the most part, loving it. Obviously, you have the 1 or 2 or 3 that hate it. But beside the point, though, SoFi is doing very good. It should not be at this price point. But sorry for my rant. I just found it very, very hilarious on this last 2 days on how it has all developed. Aside from all of that fun jazz, looking at options, $2.16 million in calls being purchased versus 1.12 million in puts. Sentiment wise, 47% of all the options being done today are optimistic, but then again, that could just be associated to shorts just hedging that way. So again, that's something to consider. Of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above $8 by next week. So that might be a good free and clear, like a rubber stamp essentially. And then looking at puts, you do see a consensus for it to be below 750. So once again, another week that you do see a lot more upside versus downside. At least the options is signaling that. Today, right now, at the time of doing this video, 22.22 million shares have been traded so far. 52.6 is the average. So institutions aren't really doing all that much today, and you can tell that based off of this as well. So these are some of the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market. So not all that much. You have one big one first thing, 2.76. But aside from that though, you do see a lot of transactions being done after hours. So a lot of this is associated to that volatility and manipulation. And speaking on manipulation, these are some of the transactions that have occurred on the dark pool. So I know I go through this relatively fast, so you can always pause the video and kind of go through it line by line if you need. But regardless, there was a lot of transactions, and a lot of this is linked to shorting and or larger institutions. But right now, with it at $7.41, it is trading between this S1, or sorry, this pivot point and this R1. So even though there was that sell-off yesterday and a lot of volatility the last 2 days, it did not touch this S1, so this $7.19. So I think all in all, it is still fairly good based off of the technicals, and might be bold to say, but it does seem like it was more of a controlled pullback. So it was planned. Like if they really wanted to destroy SoFi, they would have taken it below this S1, but it didn't even come close to that. So today, I think the low was 725. So in reality, it does seem more of a controlled pullback and clearly just manipulated to ensure it's not above 750 today. But like I said, going into next week, this is where you could see more of a rubber stamp from the market, allowing SoFi to get to at least around the $8 range. So that might be coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned for my video over this upcoming weekend, where I go over everything that you need to know for, I guess, this upcoming week. But all in all, I think SoFi is doing somewhat okay. At least it's staying above the sixes to be somewhat optimistic. But on the actual chart, it is successfully staying in the higher percentile of the boiling band. And looking at stochastic, you do see a nice bullish deviation, so white line above the red. Keep in mind, I know this is unfortunate to say, but if SoFi does continue as kind of the status quo and stays how it is, so around the 750 range, eventually by the tail end of next week, it is going to be considered somewhat overbought, meaning there will be a pullback required in order to reset the technicals. So SoFi is very good at doing that. Every time it gets overbought, it has a very significant sell-off time and time again just to reset the technicals. So most likely that will come sooner rather than later. And shorts know that as well. Algorithms know that, so they kind of play on to that as well. Number of retail investors have been getting in ever since it looks like the 18th. So even though institutions aren't really buying SoFi, retail is. So give yourself a shout out if you did buy today or if you did buy this week. I did buy a small amount, so I see bigger and better things coming. And plus I do see a FOMO run, especially leading into their upcoming earnings, as what usually does happen time and time again. I think there's just been maybe one, maybe 2 quarters over this last 9 quarterly earnings that they haven't had a FOMO run up. So I think there might be one coming. We'll just have to wait and see. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying, or what have you been doing behind the scenes? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.